Oh yeah, New Hampstead, their win over West Side Macon. I really like this New Hampstead team. Kyle Hockman used to be the head coach at McEachern. He led them to a ton of deep playoff runs. He goes down to New Hampstead. His team has lost coast game after coast game the last probably 3 seasons, and then 40-12 win. Westside Macon's a good team, and their quarterback. I mean, Rashawn Terwell. We saw him against. I think it was the big win over Burke County. He just put up ridiculous numbers, close to 600 yards, and he had 6 touchdowns in this game too. And he's only a junior, so I think that result's surprising. I wanted to see how good New Hampstead would be, just a team that hasn't really been in the playoffs. They've been relevant, but I think this is their best team in quite a while. So that's a big win for the Phoenix.
For sure, big win for them, and obviously had a great just kind of finish to the season for them, and they're carrying into the playoffs and a big win on Saturday. It's a great shout out by Craig. Next one I want to go to is Houston County's win 42-32 against North Atlanta. My standout, Craig, if you go back, I went back and watched the game too on GPB and on their YouTube channel, and they had a chance to win the game. They were down 35-32. They went and scored, and then they get the onside kick. Then they go there in their red zone. I want to say red zone, but in their territory about the 35, 40-yard line, and they throw an interception. So my thing in that game is you need your quarterback to be better. And I like North Atlanta. I don't even think, to be honest with you, Craig, I don't even think there's a talent discrepancy. I think North Atlanta has the same talent that Houston County has. I think they got the same or even better coaching than they do as well. I love Coach
Same
All.
depth too.
Same depth as well. I love Coach All. I love Coach Doe. I don't even put that on them. The quarterback has to play better. I watched the film, Craig. He is telegraphing too many of his throws. Like he's going 1-2 and he's staring down the receiver. The defense sees that and they are picking them off. So that's the big step that he has to take forward next year. And the cool thing is he's going to be at the Georgia League class, so we're going to see him in person. But he's going to be a senior next year. Only player I think they're returning is Chase Linton and him. Maybe some couple other pieces. But they're not going to have Demetrius Barnes next year. No Darius Malcolm, no Zayden Benson. I think no Grant Thompson. So they'll lose a lot of their players. But to fall in a 21-3 hole and come back and claw your way back and pretty much have a chance to win, he had 4 interceptions, Craig. He just got to be better. I think they'll get him in the film room. Just cannot telegraph your throws. If a defense running a certain coverage, you got to be able to, okay, hey, look, let me scan this side of the field, and then, okay, let me go back to this read. Like, you got to go through his progressions better. I know it's a fast offense. You have to get the ball out of your hands quick. But when you stare down the receiver, those are the results you're going to get. And you're going to get pick sixes and you're going to get interceptions. So that's the big result there. Obviously, I'm not trying to be overly critical, Craig, but I did watch the film. Just telegraphed too many of his throws. I think if he cleans that part up, he'll be a next level QB next year.
Yeah, I think you mentioned some of the skill guys they lose. They still have enough talent just up front in the trenches, so they can morph their offense a little bit, be more run-oriented, power. I think they can adapt, be just as good. It was their best season ever, but it reminds me of the Troop Cairo game because Cairo had multiple opportunities to win this game. It was a 14-10 game. They threw 2 red zone interceptions. Both of those could have won it, and so it was a really tough loss. But you're in position, down by 4. You get 2 opportunities, and both of them were intercepted. So that was a brutal way to lose, but it's exactly what you said. Someone's got to step up in that situation and get the points on the board.
Yes.
Obviously, down by 4, it's tough because they probably didn't realize they had enough time. Maybe they could have kicked a field goal, come back down, but in the moment, they had to go for it, and tough way to lose. They had a great season as well.
Yes, they did. But, yeah, that's my result. And the next one is obviously one you brought up, Craig. Jenkins' 14-13 victory against Arabian Mountain. Big defensive game. 5 sacks in that game for Jenkins. So that's one of my big results. And why? Because Arabian Mountain had one of their best seasons, I think, in school history. 9-2, just won the region championship. You thought they would go on a little run, but Jenkins comes in there as the 4 seed and beats Arabian Mountain, knocks out 2 of the teams from that region, including Tucker. So I think that's big.
Yes, it is. A tough, man, just going from the high to the low, winning the region, and then season's over like that.
Yeah.
I think a big one for me, Savannah Christian against Peach County. That one went into 4 overtimes. That's why one of the reasons it was so high scoring. But that's a tough one for Peach County because Savannah Christian's the real deal. We talked about how 3A looks a lot more wide open this year, although Calvary Day might be the favorite at this point with Cedar Grove, but just a 48-46 win, probably a playoff classic. Not many people can say they played in a 4 overtime game. So the sigh of relief from the Raiders after that one was probably very huge.
100%. And my last one is Thomasville's 36-29 victory against Harlem, a shootout of a game. Thomasville 15-7 fourth quarter was big there. And a big game from Cam Hill, 12 of 15, 240 yards, and 1 touchdown, and Anderson as well. So big time game, but basically went back and forth. Both teams put up, I think, nearly 400 yards of offense separately. So big time shootout game between both teams. Thomasville gets the edge and wins the game.
And then for me, I thought Jonesboro had a really big win over Glenn Academy. They were up big. Glenn was trying to come back. It's a scrappy team coming from that South Georgia area. And so that was a big win for Jonesboro. The season they've had, what they're trying to build for the future, getting that win was definitely significant. They obviously have a tough matchup coming up, but a shout out to Coach Syrup and the Cardinals for the big win. And then I thought, I mentioned this yesterday, the Hiram Cambridge game, they did jump out to a big lead. They kind of allowed Cambridge to come back in that game. So I think Hiram, solid team, top 10. But when you look at the rest of 5A, teams like Dalton, teams like Cartersville, how good is Hiram going to be? Can they take that next level and make a historic run in the playoffs? We will see, but they did get the victory.
100%. And shout out to Carver Columbus as well. Appreciate you tuning in, Jimmy, as always. We have our eyes on you. We're going to try to cover you guys more. So we're watching you guys out there in 3A. A lot of interesting results from 3A. As Craig mentioned, the Monroe area win against Sandy Creek and beating that team number 2. And as Craig mentioned, 3 teams in that region is out now. And only one that remains is Cedar Grove. And they got a close victory against Hebron Christian. So very, very interesting region. But that's going to conclude it for the